What's up, everybody? Don't run, don't hide, just come on inside because we're about to take you for a ride with the Geeks with Wives and Capes, episode number 80. Thought I'd drop some lyrical rhymes on you guys to open the show today.
Mad
I know,
rhymes.
that was inspiring.
I was feeling a little saucy today. Welcome, everyone. As always, I'm your host, Darth Sparrow, and I am here with one of my usual ragtag crew of hosts. It seems like it's just you and me a lot lately, Casey. What's up with that?
No, but apparently we're not very well liked anymore.
It's all your fault, man.
Yeah, it usually is. It's usually the case.
So it's all the hating on everybody. Although you didn't do that last episode, so we're okay, I think, man. I don't know what their deal is. Well, as always, I'm joined.
We have an hour ahead of us, so
The night is young. The night is young. As always, I'm joined with my one and only co-host extraordinaire, Mr. Casey Walsh, the one I've dubbed the bad boy of comics. How are you, sir?
now you have to say published magazine author in there as well.
Oh, excuse me. Published magazine author, Mr. Casey Walsh.
Hey, what's going on? I'm 80.
Here's what I find ironic. So when we started this whole endeavor, I was like our cosplayer, right? You don't cosplay, and you're in a freaking cosplay magazine.
I told them that when they asked me to write the article. I said, I don't cosplay, right? And they're like, yeah, that's okay.
Oh, whatever.
So
That's
I did it.
formality.
My favorite part is they sent out like an advertisement video on like YouTube or whatever.
Right.
And they're like, it's got Sailor Moon girls and blah 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 and low comedy, and then a flash of my like article. I'm like, oh, so now my article is low comedy.
Man, you have risen to stardom and the low comedy level, huh?
I know. Pin to one in 5 seconds, just fucking boom boom.
How has it changed you, man? What's it like for you now? Are you getting recognized out in the streets?
Oh yeah, I can't find it anywhere. That's the problem. I don't even have a copy of it myself.
God, this is the problem.
I would be
when you live in a town like Fresno.
I would be passing it out to everyone I met, but I can't find it anywhere. So
Girl,
if anyone
hey,
finds it out there, please send me one copy, because
Yes, get an extra one for me.
Anyway, yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, man, congrats on that. That's pretty rad. I can't wait to actually get a copy and check it out.
I gotta tell a funny story, because I've looked everywhere for it. I'm just gonna talk about myself for 20 minutes.
Hey,
I looked everywhere for it,
Yeah.
and I went to Barnes & Noble. Like, Barnes & Noble will fucking have it. They have 1,000 magazines.
They have all
So
those very like specialized hobby magazines too.
Yeah. So I'm like looking around. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not seeing it here. So I'll ask somebody. He probably won't know, because like they have so many magazines. There's no way he's gonna know.
Right.
I find this guy. I'm like, hey, do you guys have Cosplay Culture magazine? He did not wait, not even a half a second. No, we do not have that magazine. I'm like, number one, you're just saying no to me just to say no to me because you don't want to deal with me. There's no possible way that you can know every single magazine that you guys have at any given time. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So don't give me that fucking no bullshit, you lazy Barnes & Noble employee. That's why nobody reads books anymore.
Yeah, or there's no way you actually have been asked about that before. Now I know you're just saying no.
You're like the
that's another thing
person
too.
that asked, actually.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but that would have made me feel good, because at least I would know like people were looking for it and like it was getting bought, and I'll get asked to write another article. But yeah, he was just like, nope, and I was like, whoa, geez, you could have like at least like thought about it for 2 seconds. Like, geez.
Can I finish my sentence before you say no? Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
This is my livelihood, man.
Sorry, I won't talk the rest of the show now. I'm good.
Hey, it's cool, man. Well, we're gonna find it. Don't worry.
And, maybe I can find it on Kindle.
There you go. Just download it. It's all good, man. Well, folks. Tonight we have the distinct honor and pleasure of having not only a guest, which is always exciting because you guys get to hear other people talk besides me and Casey ranting about random stuff. But we get to talk to some cool, awesome people that are in this beautiful industry of comics. And tonight we are joined by one of the awesome authors in our comic book world, Mr. James Maddox, the author of the book The Dead, which is not a book about zombies. So everybody, welcome James. James, how you doing? We're glad to have you here, man.
Thanks. I don't know if I can live up to that praise, though. Come on.
Come on now.
Come on.
Yes, you can do it, man. You can do it. Well, James, we're glad to have you, man. So before we get into the details, how's your day?
Excellent. I've been walking around in snow all day, and that's about the majority of what happened today.
What's snow? That's that white stuff, right?
Yeah,
That falls out of the
it's
sky.
this like really solid precipitation that comes from the sky. It's a lot of fun, honestly. Like I act all coy about it or whatever,
Yeah.
pissed off, but I actually love it. It's
We don't get snow here in Fresno, California. We have to go up to the mountains to do that, and we don't even
Right.
have snow in the mountains right now.
Yeah. I know that poor little ski resort. So sad.
Dying. It's bad
yeah,
stuff, man.
it's all tipped to the East Coast.
Yeah, James, we were talking about before we started the show. We were talking about comic conventions, and you actually help organize a con where you're from, correct?
I do. Yeah,
Wait,
when me and my business partner Eric Watkins started this thing we called TriCon because we had gone to so many different conventions on the East Coast, and I don't know, we got that kind of mind where if you look at something long enough, you're going to start like picking it apart and figuring it out and things like that.
Sure.
So we just decided, we can do this, and it was kind of just a dare, really. Like can you just say you're going to do this and things happen? Can you just call random comic people that you've met on the road and be like, hey, we're putting on a show, you want to come hang out? And
Yeah.
turns out, yeah, you can.
Some of them actually say yes, huh?
Yeah, some of them actually said yes.
That's
But
wild.
this is going to be our 4th year coming up in April, and it's called the Tri-State Comic Con.
Yeah, and we were talking also. Your con is kind of a rare thing nowadays. It's actually a con about comics.
Yeah, so basically we're like, how can we make like zero money and maybe
Yeah.
even owe a little bit of money? We'll just make it all about comics and not do any media guests.
Yeah, forget the celebrities, forget the people on TV. We don't need any of them. we don't
But,
need any crap.
on a good note, though, I mean, like the exhibitors, the indie guys, they tend to do really well in sales, and people get introduced to their work, and it's that wishy-washy idealist bullshit that you hear about on the movies, but you never see in real life. We're bringing it back. Okay.
Awesome. We need more of that, man. We really do.
Yeah, we're
So
trying.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Well, we hope it's extra big and successful for you this year.
Me too.
Yeah, so besides comic cons, you are an author. So let's talk about because every hero has an origin story. Every comic book artist writer has an origin story too. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yours and how you got started?
I always wanted to tell stories. I guess that's how every writer starts out,
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of fun in the sense that I could study up on classic literature and be that dorky kid in the coffee shop. And then things changed when I was asked to write a script for a comic book, and I had never done anything like that before. I had read comics, mainly indie, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Sandman and that kind of stuff.
Good
But
stuff.
yeah, I know, right? But I tried writing it, and like where it would take me a year to write a book, or a couple of weeks to write a short story, I just breezed through writing a comic script. And before you knew it, I had a few under my belt, got in touch with some really good artists. Eric, who I mentioned earlier, and I started a little self-publishing, indie publishing label called Broken Icon Comics.
Okay.
And I've done a lot of things through them. I'm actually coming out with a book through them in April called The Eccentrics, but I've also done stuff for myself with Jen. We are doing self-publishing on The Dead. So it's been a fun little ride.
Very cool, man. Did you have any like formal training in your writing? Did you go to school for writing specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I went to college and got my bachelor's in English, but then I just went off and traveled. I roamed the earth like Cain,
In Kung Fu?
Yeah, and just picked up stuff as I went along, and before you knew it, I'd been writing the entire time, and I came back and I was like, I'm not too bad at this.
You go, I could do this.
Yeah.
I got this. So let's talk about your book, The Dead, because now I haven't finished reading the whole thing. I'm about like page 67, and I'm already like,
man.
I know,
How
man.
dare
I
you,
know.
Will?
I know.
How
Hey.
dare you?
Hey, I
You're
read 67
fired.
pages. I'm super stoked. I'm super into it already, man. But for those who don't know about it, for our listeners. Tell us about The Dead, the concept of it.
Okay, it's really funny because we call it The Dead, and the market's flooded with zombie stories. So every time I send out for a review or a blurb or anything, I always have to put the parentheses, not a zombie comic, promise.
Yeah.
And it was really funny. I handed it to Mike Carey at Baltimore Comic Con, just saying if you like it, let me know. And
Right.
he sent me an email a couple of weeks afterwards and was like, I thought this was going to be a zombie comic, but you really surprised me, man. Good job. So I love getting that reaction. But basically, I'll get back to the actual, basically, it's a story of what happens after you die.
Okay.
And you wake up and you find out that your afterlife is just a bunch of rooms that people create out of thin air. And it expresses their personalities, and they're all kind of crammed against each other, leading to this big thing that I call the house. So essentially, you can have a room that's as small as your study, or a room that's as large as Kentucky.
Wow.
And it's really been this kind of weird concept that I don't know where it came from. I had the idea a decade ago, it feels like, but I found Jen, or we found each other at Baltimore Comic Con a couple of years ago, and I pitched it to her, and she likes the same things that I do, like House of Leaves and Sandman, and all these really creepy, at times very cerebral stories.
Sure.
And we hit it off. That's cool. And her art is amazing.
Yeah. I always hate to use this word because I know people get kind of weird about it, but there seems to be like some very, like, I guess we could say spiritual, biblical elements in this book. Kind of. I guess that was what I took from it. What is there certain things of that nature that kind of inspired this book in a way?
Yeah, I mean, my wife read a few parts of it, and there are a few like overly spiritual, religious connotations that I put in there.
Yeah.
And I meant for it to be there, like it has purpose for being there, but she was like, this seems a little too religious for me, and I was like, good. Like I don't necessarily believe in anything, but
Right.
it's definitely got roots in what people believe or what people see as ordinary or regular religion.
Gotcha. Have you been met with any I don't know what's the word I want to use, like any backlash,
Like any
from
pushback?
from that aspect?
So far, no, but it could be just because either people are down with ideas that kind of challenge religion or thoughts on religion.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I hoped it would do. So maybe it's doing its job.
Right. So
what's the overarching plan for this? Because what I really want to see are more of the rooms, because that's like the thing that interests me most. Like, there's so many people that are in this house. I just want to see the crazy rooms, because there's like a room of like a million naked chicks somewhere, a room of like 1,000 like puppies. Like, I want to see like the crazy like rooms. When are we going to see more of that stuff?
It was actually really cool. I don't know what we have planned beyond this first 6-issue run, but after we had pretty much decided where we were going to stop and all that, I kind of was talking to an artist friend of mine at a convention, and the more we talked, I got this idea that I should have a special features section that was just a bunch of panels, right? Yeah. And it's in the back of the trade that we're going to be releasing here pretty soon, but it's cool because I just got a hold of all my artist friends and said, hey, can I have a panel? And usually they're used to getting requests for like an entire page or pin up or whatever. I was like, no, I just want like a 2 by whatever panel, and each panel is a different room in the house. Right, so you get like basically a snapshot of something that's happening, and it's like as mundane as a snowball fight to an assassination that's happening in a boggy marsh kind of place.
Yeah.
It's really, really fun because that's the whole point of this story, is that it's an infinite premise kind of deal. There's no limit to time frame. Well, there's a limit to time frames because the guy that started it all, like, he started back in the early 1900s. But beyond that, there's no like really restrictions on who can be in the house or what that consists of. So you get to see people's imaginations running wild.
Yeah, and the plot point of like the hunts really kind of plays into the whole idea of the house as well, because that's like where the kind of crux of the adventure comes from, where they get to go and visit all these rooms, and then there's these wild beasts that are in there and all that stuff, and that's what I really loved. That's so much fun.
Yeah, it could. I definitely had to get them out of a single room because that would just be boring. The whole point of the story is really getting to see these different locations.
But there was also a nice little moment where they're in like a city, and you do say like, yeah, these people in this like city never leave the city, and they never even know they're dead. Like they're just like stuck in this area. So it's so cool. There's just so many. There's an infinite million. There's an infinite route of possibilities that go on, and there's so many stories you could explore, and I just love that because there's like sometimes in comic books, when you've been reading comic books for so long, it's so hard for these characters to kind of break outside their box because they're stuck to continuity. But you could technically start all over every single time you want, like an American Horror Story kind of thing. Like we just do it like an anthology and start over and over and over again each season, which is a really cool idea.
Yeah, and not only that, but I've toyed with the idea of like having a cameo of either Sam or Alex or Valoria somewhere in the background of every story that I tell from here on out. So you're always wondering, is it taking place inside the house?
Yeah.
So, it's a stupid idea, but it's mine. And you mentioned. Yeah, you mentioned the city room. I actually really like that setting, mainly because there's a lot of cameos in there. Like if you look really close, you'll see some familiar faces of comic book creators that influenced me and Jen as we were developing.
Nice.
Yeah, you could do like a whole story just in that city, and then like have the big reveal be at the end, like, oh, they're in this giant house.
They're in the house.
do like a gritty like crime drama.
Yeah.
That's great.
They were there all along. Cue the music.
Okay. Anyways, can you explain to me the Bottle Snatch?
Okay, so
and to our listeners, the Bottle Snatch.
Sure.
This cool little thing in the book.
Honestly, I don't know if I've explained the book well enough, so they might just think I'm a raving lunatic at this point.
Welcome to the club.
Yes.
The Bottle Snatch, basically, Devi has there's a character in the house that owns a bar. Her room is a bar, and she has a little dumbwaiter that you put an empty bottle in, you close it, you open it up a few seconds later, and it's filled again, right? And that's the talent of her room. So, bottles are a scarce resource when they get in her hands, and she just hides them away. Right. So she's willing to give you information, which is, you get there and you don't know what the hell's going on. But she's willing to give you the information that she's gathered from, all the people that come through her door if you go and get her really, exotic drinks and bottles. So that's essentially what it is. So if you're, a guy that is in a mountain room and you have a bottle of the finest whiskey, she wants that bottle because instead of people going to find it there, they're going to try to come find it at her place. So it's all about control. She's a bit manipulative.
Interesting.
Yeah, she's a total bitch.
I can't wait to hear what you think about the end then, because that was one of my favorite plot or character developments.
Well, I would never spoil that on this podcast.
Sure.
We always spoil things. What are you talking about?
They're all dead. Oh.
Wait a minute. They're dead?
Yeah, go figure.
So this particular this first 6-issue arc that we have going on, what exactly, so maybe our listeners, because you said maybe they don't quite understand fully what the book is about, like what's the overall story that we're dealing with here?
A guy named Sam wakes up in the house. He's kind of your introductory character that helps you figure out what's going on as he figures out what's going on. But he enters the house and he's been pushed out of his opportunity to create his own place in the world, you know. So he's been chased out of his original plot, which is what I call it. When people enter this house, they get a blank slate, and they can create on top of that blank slate. Right?
Gotcha. The plot is the empty space, right?
Exactly.
Where you build your room.
Right.
Gotcha.
And he's been chased out by something and lost his way, and he can't get back to it. So the entire, like, his entire story for what he wants, what he desires, is finding his way back to that place where he belongs.
Gotcha. And he in a sense becomes what are the characters called that look for the bottles?
A bottle runner.
Bottle runner, that's right.
So to get more information to help him figure out what the hell's going on in here, he has to go through all of these bottle runs, I guess. And it turns out he's really good at it, and he gets a lot of fame that happens. You'll notice
like a rock star.
Yeah, you'll notice in a lot of my stories, newspapers come into play. I did a lot of journalism.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. So like in The Dead, you'll see like an entire news article that tells about what's going on with Sam and how he's a rock star and everybody likes him. I did a book called Clown recently where there's another big page that's just a news article. I love newspapers. So
that's
good.
super. That's one of the things I noticed too.
You were born in the wrong time, my friend.
I know.
It's cool when there's a news article. It's like an actual article you can actually read. Like it's not just like here, check this out. There's supposed to be stuff you can read on there. No, there's just...
Dude, I love world building. There's nothing that makes me happier than like all the special features in The Dead have just a little bit of world building in them that tell a smaller piece of this bigger picture. And doing the newspaper articles, like they're nothing you have to read. Like if you passed them up, you'd be just fine. But if you read them, you get to know a little bit more about what's going on.
See, that's so cool. I love that. I was like, God, I bet you I need to read. I probably don't need to read this, but if I do, there'll probably be something I figure out for later on.
Yeah.
Well, it does help because there is a little bit of a time jump, like some time jumps there where he's there. Like that does kind of fill in the gaps where he's there for longer than the book actually shows. So I found it very helpful.
Yeah, that is one of the things I was kind of worried about going in as far as like the craft of it goes. Is I like to jump a lot. I like to move fast. My pacing tends to be a little bit more energetic, and I was worried that am I going too fast? At what point does it become a problem? So.
I mean, but that's like I said, when you have a world that big, that's kind of what you have to do because you could spend so many issues having them go on all those bottle runs and all those hunts together, but you need to tell a certain story, and you gotta do it. You only have 4 issues or 6 issues or 5 issues to do it in, so you gotta keep the pace moving, which is fine. That's where an article like a newspaper article that can tell a backstory comes into play very handily.
Yeah, and like I said, so far it's gone over pretty well. We started off with just me and Jen wanting to do this story. We put it up on Kickstarter, and I don't want to say we made bank because really all the money that we made went into the rewards, but we went well over our goal. I think it was like 230% over our goal.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a lot of. It's always been this story I wanted to tell, and the fact that people kind of want to hear it is pretty fun.
Yeah, definitely.
When you approached Jen to pick, I said this in my article, when you approached Jen to kind of take on the mantle of the book, did you kind of pick her because you saw her art style and knew it was kind of like very whimsical and not so like realistic and harsh work? Because your book kind of is heavy and very violent at times.
Yeah.
And that kind of whimsical setting kind of, and her kind of like cartoonish, I always say cartoonish, but there's a cartoon I'm thinking of that reminds me of maybe like Borderlands kind of, but not with like the cell shading. But like that art kind of made those scenes like more tolerable. Was that like your intention? Like I don't want someone that's gonna come off this with this too realistic setting. I don't really I don't know how to answer this well, but essentially Jen, I knew like when I saw her stuff, she was super talented. When I was actually in Baltimore, I wasn't pitching The Dead to anybody,
It was just kind of a pet project. I was actually pitching a Western. And I had seen her stuff and was like, maybe not for that story, but I kind of do have something that you might really like when I sent her the email and pitched her The Dead. And, that's what she gravitated towards. But essentially, like, her style was just meant for it, is what I think. Because it's like you said, she has that, that style that's a little bit familiar, so that you can really dive into it and feel comfortable with it, and then she'll give you a scene that you're not really expecting from that particular style, and it's just jarring enough that it gets your mind thinking.
She reminds me of John Romita. I'm going to steal a joke from an article. She reminds me of John Romita Jr., but she can actually draw like individual faces. So, I really kind of found that, like I said, very, very comforting. Yeah. I do have a question for her and you. Why were Alex's eyes whited out?
Because it looked cool.
Okay. Good enough.
There actually is a backstory, and I could probably tell you that story without ruining anything. I don't tell how anybody dies in the house, really, as far as how they got to be in the house, until I did a short story in the back that I allude to it. But Alex died of a drug overdose. So when he died, he was in that kind of like euphoric high state, and everything was clouded over, so his eyes are all clouded over.
Oh. Not shocked by that at all. He seems like the overdose type.
Yeah. Backstories for days, man.
Love it.
Like I said, that's so much fun. That if I was ever writing a comic book, that's what I would want to do. Just create this giant like playground of infinite space. I could just create a mess in and not like be like, it's an infinite space. Fuck you. I can do what I want.
It was done on purpose. You can't tell me that wasn't in continuity. Shut up.
Yeah.
I actually did it as a self-preservation thing. So.
Yeah, it's a fantastic idea, and I really, really enjoy it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I have a quick question. What can you give us a brief rundown of what I guess on one page is referred to as the top 5 threats of the house? You have like the wretched and the frail.
The wretched and the frail, like that. The top 5 threats were just kind of a teaser for what you might be able to see as we go along with the story.
Yeah.
Again, that's nothing you need to pay attention to, but it does tie in as you get further along into the series. I think, I don't have it in front of me, but I think you come across every obstacle that's listed on that little crib sheet.
Yeah, I like that little crib sheet.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it was really funny. Is the Seraphim on that?
Yes.
Okay, so the Seraphim was really fun because I wanted to go 2 ways with it. I wanted them to be like uber pristine, like angelic, or I wanted them to be, like the hillbilly redneck.
Like,
yeah, like it was going to go one way or the other. So I kind of let Jen pick which she liked, and she went with the woodsy folk.
Right. I like how you worded that, the woodsy folk.
Yeah, I'm reading Deadly Class, so now I'm like getting those two like mixed up in my head. There's like a group of murderous hillbillies in Deadly Class too. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Yes, we will. But James, what other awesome books have you worked on? Can you tell us about?
I've done a bunch of indie stuff. I'm an indie guy through and through. I just came out with a book called Clown, which was a one-shot, but actually I might have some pretty cool news about that here in the next couple of weeks.
Wait, so. not minutes.
Not minutes. I don't have all the paper in front of me right just yet.
James, I'm gonna have to skip that one. I don't do clowns.
Okay, wait. Before you do that,
wait,
okay?
Unless you tell me it's not about clowns.
It's not about creepy, scary clowns. And again, here comes my journalism thing. It's about a journalist who has fallen on some rough times, and his only recourse is to become a circus clown. And yeah, it's kind of set in a steampunky kind of world. The whole idea came up because I was like, what the hell does a steampunk clown look like? You know? And
what does that look like?
I was at Heroes Con, and I asked a few of artist friends can you just sketch me one real quick, because I got this idea in my head and it doesn't look anything like steampunk. And I had this one picture that was awesome that Dave Stoll drew of this robot-looking cyborg that had a unicycle for legs, and it looked really cool, but it wasn't in my head. I wanted more realism, more grit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It got a bigger reaction than I thought it would, actually. Right. So that was actually the one Gail Simone hit me up, or shouted on Twitter about it. So that was kind of a good day for me.
Excellent.
And then outside of that, I'm coming out with a book called The Eccentrics, which is the second book that Rob Dumo and I have worked on together. It's a 32-page one-shot. He came up with this character in high school, which is essentially a stick figure in a human bodysuit. And he's got super strength, and it's actually really fun. It was my challenge because I'd never written anything superhero, and I was like, I can write superheroes. Who the hell do they think they are? Right. And he loves drawing superheroes, so we took this old concept that he had back in high school or middle school and made it a little more serious, a little more fun. And that was weird, but it was rewarding.
Wait, are you telling me I can make money off my stupid ideas from middle school?
I know, right? You just have to give them some kind of gravitas, and you'll be fine.
Let's do it, Casey.
You know that vampire detective that you are drawing or doodling back in 6th grade?
Yeah.
That's a cash cow.
You mean naked vampire detective?
Yeah, naked vampire detectives.
I think we'd have to put that one in that special section at our comic shop. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you have to put most of my comics probably in that special section.
I also did a book called The Horror Show, which may or may not be coming out in the spring. Again, it started as a one-shot and got a lot of recognition because...
And that's about having a kid?
yeah, essentially. No, that one's actually, I can't say anything about it to anybody because it's just I think it's 14 or 16 pages, and it's super condensed, and it's one twist after the other, and yeah, I love the ending of it, so I can't say anything about it. And if you guys want any of this stuff, I'll send you PDFs.
Sweet.
Send it all, except for the clown one.
Yeah, okay.
I'll read the clown one, okay, James? I don't have an issue with clowns. I want to see what a steampunk clown looks like. So.
I know it was a weird journey to get to that image.
James,
I don't know. I like stories. What kind of stories are you guys reading?
Just superhero.
Good segue.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. James, have you been on here before?
I'm not a stranger to the podcast art form.
Exactly. Yeah. Before we segue into, actually, this goes right along with that. Before we get into our Week in Geek, if you could write any character that's currently existing, superhero, non-superhero, what would be your dream job?
Okay. Well, you guys suck. Why are you asking me this question? I'd love to have a stab at Batman. Honestly, that's my character. I like the Red Hood a lot. I would write the hell out of some Red Hood.
Sweet.
But yeah, Batman would probably do it for me.
Batman, awesome. Yeah, I know. Casey's a big Batman guy too.
Everyone always says Batman. I'm real tired of this crap.
Batman?
Sorry, I stick to the classics, you know.
No, I know. If someone was like, Mr. Walsh, you can pick any character. I don't give a fuck. Just pick one, and we'll let you write for it. I'd be like, fucking Batman. Everyone's gonna say Batman every single time. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
It's just gonna
You know what? I could actually go and say my favorite comic ever, hands down. Take it to a desert island, Transmetropolitan. If I could ever write a Transmetropolitan story, I would jump all over that, man.
I could. You could probably get someone. You could talk someone into that.
Yeah. Just go to Warren Ellis and be like, I know that you ended it and really well, but what do you think?
Can we do something? Can we get something going?
Let's make it.
I'm so sad when he left Moon Knight after 6 issues.
Yeah.
Such a good run.
Gosh, awesome.
All right, well, what were we talking about?
That was a bit of a ploy, though. I mean, they pulled in a lot of heavy talent for that initial, all the initial runs of the New 52. I feel they had some stellar, people that jumped on, and then a lot of them kind of went away after the first arc.
You mean Marvel now?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Them Marvel folks.
We don't talk about DC on this show.
Yeah.
Hey, James, where can our listeners go to find your amazing book, The Dead, and learn about you?
JamesMaddox.net is always a good place. Comixology, I'm kind of becoming a regular on Comixology. Submit. BrokenIconComics.com.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'll get you started.
Sweet, awesome, man. All good things. It's super awesome. It's such a cool book. The concept is so cool. I love it. I'm gonna finish reading it as soon as we get off. I promise. Because I want to know what's going on. But James, would you like to talk some geek stuff with us as we go over our week in geek?
Yeah, I'll try to hang. I said, the hardest thing for me about being in comics, and I've come to love mainstream comics, but I'm always the indie guy, Yeah. So half the time I may not know what the hell you're talking about, but I'll try.
Okay. That's okay. We won't make you go first. We never make our guests go first. I make Casey go first because he talks a lot.
Okay.
Well, I'm not gonna talk that much. I promise.
You better. What you going on, man? Your week
this week. I read Deadly Class. Oh my god, I can't think of the number. I think it's number 7. I wrote a review and I can't tell you what number it is. Maybe it was number 11. Number 7 or 11. One of those. But yeah, it was the end. It was the end of the second arc, and it was basically our main character Marcus. He was confronting his villain Chester, who he kind of has had a runs-in with since childhood. So it was at their big climax. So him and some of the students from the assassin school, this book is so weird. The premise is it's a school for assassins, yet there has been no assassin schooling. Been a bunch of random high school drama with murders in the middle of it, and it's been fantastic. Like I said, the last issue was the best onomatopoeia I've seen in a comic in a long time. This issue,
it's hard to come up with a good onomatopoeia in the comic.
Yeah, it was him shitting his pants. So it ran across the issues. And it was just the perfect. It was just perfect.
You're wow.
Yeah, it's so good. And like James said, an onomatopoeia can really set the scene right and really pay homage to that sound that it needs to make. And if it's done perfectly, it's just done perfectly.
Yeah.
So I really like that. And yeah, in this issue I gave a 10 because it's fantastic. It's action packed. The whole arc is resolved pretty much, and then it ends with a cliffhanger that's going to start the new arc. Remender is a master at storytelling, and he's really good at the slow burn. And when he needs to hit a action point and a selling point, he hits it hard. And that's what this book was. It was very much kind of here's everything that's happened, and here are all our characters going to have the conversations they need to have so they can resolve their issues. And while that's happening, we're going to have a giant gun battle and dynamite blowing up, and people getting their heads chopped off. So it's
about Remender's comic, are his sound effects. The noises that he makes for his sound effects are always kind of inspired.
Yeah, I love him. He's awesome. And you made me agree with this. I want to ask him this someday so bad, but he hates happy endings. Nothing. Yeah. He's never written a happy ending ever. Nothing's ever bright and sunny at the end of the trail. It's always gloom and doom, and these guys are never gonna make it out alive. Like even like Uncanny X-Force, like they essentially save the world, but like at a huge cost to themselves and everyone else around them. So,
Right.
and I kind of expect everything to end that way. So it makes it very kind of like on the edge of your seat all the time. You're very on the edge of your seat with everything that he writes, except for Axis. Not so much the Axis. But well, once again, when you put a guy like that in a box, like I'm sure they have to kind of sit in that box when they work for Marvel. Like he's not going to get to do what he needs to do because you can't just jump into Axis and like know what's going on. You would have had to have read every issue of Uncanny, of Uncanny Avengers and all that stuff to understand how they got to that point. So I understand why people didn't like it, and it does kind of like drag, or not drag. I'm sorry, it needed a little bit more, a few more issues to kind of flesh out what was going on. Anyways, so pick up Deadly Class if you're not already reading that. It's fantastic. Also, I read Bitch Planet. I just love saying that name.
Bitch Planet.
Bitch Planet.
Every time I hear that name, it just reminds me of bitch pudding on Robot Chicken.
Yeah, written by the before mentioned Kelly Sue DeConnick. I really enjoy it. This issue, it's my only gripe about Bitch Planet is it's kind of all over the place. Like it's on issue 3, and every issue's got kind of been a little different and only slightly progressive story. This issue seems to have taken like a totally different turn. And now we just focus on one character, her backstory, and what happened to her, and why she is the way she is. And it's very much like a body or a body dysmorphia issue, like the whole idea behind it is like these guys want to change this person for the for what she is, and like make her, like literally make her look into a mirror and see like, we're going to put a machine on your brain, and we're going to make you look in a mirror, and whatever your brain tells us what you want to be, we're going to make you that person. And so, of course, like you can assume the way Kelly Sue writes a book, or how that turns out for a character.
Yeah. Did we lose you, buddy? You there?
I think he's playing. I think he's acting.
I think we lost Casey. He's playing possum. There you
happened?
are.
Did I cut out? Dang.
You froze up, yeah.
I was on a roll. I totally forgot what I was saying.
We lost you going with the way Kelly Sue DeConnick writes a book.
Oh, okay. So like, I don't want to spoil it, but like, it's very much a teaching comic. Like this is a comic that should be given to like sexual harassment seminars and like taught in high school and taught in like women's studies class and male studies class. I don't know if they have male studies, but men should definitely read it, especially if you're an asshole. But
all right, I get it. All right, I'll read it.
Get on it, James.
Actually, I have bought that book. I have yet to sit down. I have like a huge stack on my nightstand that I need to get through, and that's definitely at the top of the list. Because I've been hearing good things about it. Pretty Deadly was freaking amazing.
Yeah, and like I said, it can be very like in your face, like this is what I'm doing and this is what I'm trying to tell you. But I like that's just who she is. I expect that from her.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it, and she's doing it. She's telling that story in a very fun and cool way. I mean, it's literally like a female prison exploitation like movie.
Right.
Like the next issue is called like lesbian shower scene. So, like, he's definitely having fun, but like kind of like teaching a lesson at the same time, which is my favorite thing. I think Sex Criminals does that very well too. Like I think Sex Criminals should be a book that is in every health class in America, and it very much teaches you about your body, and it's okay to be sexual, and it's not something to be ashamed of, and all that stuff. So. All right. See, this is why I get a moniker for talking too much. I also read Justice League 39, which ended our kind of like a Mazo storyline. So basically, the crux of the story is Lex Luthor, before he was now he's part of the Justice League. Before he was part of the Justice League, he had created this like virus that would turn regular people into, or actually it would nullify metahuman powers. but instead of doing that, it mutated, and when a person caught it, like a regular person caught it, it gave them powers. So like it spread like a zombie virus everywhere, and like all these people had superpowers, and it turned it very much into like a Blackest Night situation. And then at the very kind of end of it, it's a cool thing because now like that what he's actually created is a Mazo. So we get our new 52 like incarnation of a Mazo, who's now like this like living virus, which is a kind of a cool idea. Spoiler alert. Yeah, it's no secret, but so I really enjoyed. I just really love Jeff Johns' Justice League. It's so good. He really just knows those characters so well, and I'm really happy that whenever this new like DC thing is happening, that's the only book he's staying on is Justice League. So that makes me happy because that's my favorite DC book right now. I should probably talk about Silk #1. Silk is. Are you familiar with Silk, James? Have you heard of Silk? Okay, so Silk is a new kind of Spider-Man character. Okay. She spun out of the original Sin stuff, where she was actually bit by the same spider that Peter Parker was. Mm-hmm. So she shares this kind of weird connection with him, where they're like always like sexually attracted to each other, like uncontrollably, and she has her own like set of spider powers, but hers are like a little bit stronger than his. Wow. But the crux is she's been locked in a bunker for 10 years because they were hiding her from the Inquisitors and Morlun and all those people that like eat spider stuff. Anyways, now she has her own book. So she's kind of running around New York and kind of being her own kind of Spider-Man. And it's really cool. I really liked it. It's a lot of fun. It's very much kind of like Squirrel Girl, where she's just having fun doing it and kind of learning her powers and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. The art is by Stacey Lee. And I really, really liked her art. Again, like a very fun, cartoony style, like big eyes. I think it actually really shines when she's not in the superhero costume and she's just kind of like running around doing her day-to-day stuff. Like I really, really enjoyed her character and kind of getting to know her. And it's a kind of like a new Peter Parker for like. This sounds so dumb. It's like a Peter Parker for girls. Fuck, I just hate myself for saying that. But like, what I'm saying is like that is like she's a character that my daughter could potentially say like, oh, this was who my Spider-Man was. Right. Same thing with like what I'm hoping with Spider-Gwen. Like that even more her so like maybe my daughter will be like, hey, this is who my Spider-Man was. And I hate to have to like put that like judgment on it, like, oh, this is for girls and this is for boys, but it is more likely that she's gonna relate to a girl character. Right. So that's what I'm kind of hoping these things build into, but you never know with the way things are going in DC and Marvel. And there's shakeups and reboots and relaunches and.
I don't know. I mean. DC, Marvel, they've been getting a lot of flack for kind of pulling those cards and making those characters back in the spotlight. But it's been a lot of fun to see those characters come up because, I mean, there has to be that initial introduction. There has to be that group of people or writer that says, okay, this is what we're doing. This is our agenda. And it's a good agenda to have,
Right. Okay, I'm done. I've also read Black Vortex, and that's pretty much it's an X-Men Guardians of the Galaxy crossover, and it's really good. It's very spacey, so if you're like into space stuff, you'll like it. But it's complicated, and I don't want to talk. I'm taking up too much time as it is. So check it out if you like space stuff. It's very cosmic, which is like I said, what Guardians of the Galaxy really should be is very cosmic, and it's very much that. So. It's about a magic mirror that gives you like cosmic powers. It's weird, but it's fun.
Can I have one of those?
Sold. Yeah.
I write reviews, people.
Yeah. Right. Cool. Anything else, buddy?
No. Oh, Flash. Fuck yeah. Flash is
I know
the
you
best.
love your Flash.
Oh my god. Flash is the best show on television, hands down. And the only reason it is because number one, we get to see there's a character called the Reverse Flash, like that's fucking crazy, and he looks like he's yellow. Instead, it's just weird. I'm a fan of the Flash comics. That's just funny. I think
he's red. He's yellow with red instead of red with yellow.
Yeah. Also, they're bringing Gorilla Grodd to life.
Man, you've been talking about this ever since you first heard about it, man. You've been like all over the place.
The last episode was so good. It was so good for a couple reasons. Number one is because it was all about like the idea of like the Speed Force and like the idea of going so fast you could break through time and space. And that's the whole episode was about that. So it's like, oh, they're really fucking going for it.
Yeah.
And then, spoiler alert, I'm spoiling this for everybody. I don't give a fuck. Spoiler alert. Gorilla Grodd shows up at the very end, and he talks and he walks and he's an asshole and he's mean and scary and he's a fucking gorilla. And that's gonna happen.
The best description of anything ever
on TV. Like,
I know.
Like
people put money into that. Come on.
Wow.
Like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. Like, I just love that show. I had chills the entire episode. I was like, oh my god, this is like happening. Like, this is really happening. Like, Dark Knight, what? Like, it's all about the Flash. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
That is
time for Dark Knight or Arrow. I know you love. Yeah.
The '98 Flash wouldn't touch Gorilla Grodd. These people, they're going for it. It's awesome.
How would you have touched Gorilla Grodd at that time, man? He would have looked like a big dude in a big suit.
Oh yeah. Still, I bet the thought didn't even cross their minds. Like, no, that's not even a thought. Since episode 1, they're like, yeah, we're doing Gorilla Grodd. Like, that's happening.
It's coming.
That's why I love this show. All right, I'm done talking.
Cool.
I'll turn my mic off now.
No, stop it. You gotta turn your mic off, man. I'm gonna go through real quickly what I read. I only read 2 books. Issue number 15 of Black Widow by Edmondson and Noto. Black Widow is finally the last issue I read. She was finally making some headway into finding out who all the people are behind this secret organization called Chaos, who's been tracking her down, responsible for shooting her lawyer/friend Isaiah.
Is Chaos an acronym?
I think so, but I don't think they revealed what it is yet. Yeah, it is. They spell it with periods, but whatever.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Shocking.
Like that, Casey. That's it. We need to put that as your new tagline. Shocking. Anyways, Black Widow was attacked by an invisible Chaos agent in the last issue, and she's just like so fueled by her hate and desire to find out who these people are that instead of just kind of letting it go, she's like, nope, not letting it go. Decides to get back on this ocean liner where they're all having a secret meeting. And it was totally going to get her ass handed to her by invisible agents. They haven't explained yet how they're invisible. I'm sure they got some kind of crazy tech. But lucky for her, spoiler alert, Winter Soldier has been watching her since the last time he showed up in this book and kind of saved her butt. And the comic ends really weird. We kind of find out, but not really find out who is the ultimate power behind Chaos, and let's just say he's very ethereal. And she disappears. So right now we don't know what happened to Black Widow or where she's at or who took her.
Oh my god, is she going to space now too?
I think so.
It's just gonna be everyone.
She's going to space because this guy looks very cosmic. But it's getting very interesting. I love Black Widow. I definitely love the Black Widow as drawn by Phil Noto. Really cool. I love the style. All good stuff. Also, I read
that book's gonna suffer if they ever change the artist. I think.
I don't know. I hope they don't because
also she could have avoided all that if she just would have seen Frozen.
Yeah.
I know that joke was 10 minutes too late, but I had to do it.
It's all right, buddy.
Okay,
also, I read Loki, Agent of Asgard. This book's getting kind of weird for me. I don't know. I kind of had this conversation with you on the last time I read one of these, Casey, about how there's 3 Lokis. There was old Loki, kid Loki.
That's where I was kind of out too. I was like, no, yeah. I'm not doing this.
Yeah. So the last issue we found out that the Loki in this story is kid Loki's body, but it's like an echo of the old Loki that's kind of been. They keep using the term squatting inside of him, which just sounds really bizarre. I'm like, what's he doing? Taking a dump in there? What's going on? But anyways,
I like that book much more when he was speed baiting and fucking animals.
I know that was funny. Now they're getting too like involved now. So now he's back on Asgard. He's being brought back for his crimes, even though all of this whole thing was all perpetuated by the All Mother now, who is kind of in charge and has kind of exiled Odin, and they've now exiled Loki. And at the end of the book, spoiler, we finally get a meeting with the old crazy maniacal evil Loki and the current Loki, and the old one's going to show this Loki how he ends up going on the path that basically destroys the whole world with him as king. So it's I don't know, it's confusing.
When is Tom Hiddleston going to start looking less like kid Loki and more like old Loki?
all the female fans are hoping never.
Never.
Yes, but yeah, that's all I read. I don't know. Everything was this week for me, but whatever. James, anything exciting you read or watched this week?
Yeah, actually, I don't. I mean, it's probably out of date, but
hey.
right now,
I want to hear your thoughts about it.
Okay, so the new Cross that Alan Moore is doing a run on is actually really good. And the coolest thing about this one, normally Cross is a little too violent and gory for even me. But this one is taking a more subtle approach, and it's really cool because the way that he's writing the characters, he's got this kind of future speak because it's set 100 years into the future, right? So it would be super easy for him to write this future speak and just really fuck it up, you know? Yeah. But he pulls it off as only like someone that, you know, like Alan Moore could do.
Yeah. Has they killed Grant Morrison yet in it?
Maybe. I have no idea. Probably. I imagine everybody's dead. Now, I'm going to say this with a disclaimer, okay?
Disclaimer.
Jen Hickman, who is the artist on The Dead, is doing the colors for this next book. But Jorge Corona, who illustrated Teen Titans Go, has been just fucking dominating my reading shelf lately. So him and I can't say his last name, but Jacobs, I think it's Semon, have been doing this book called The Goners. Yeah, man, this freaking book is beautiful, and I love it so
Jacob
much.
will be on the podcast in a month, 2 weeks. He'll be on the podcast soon. So
tell him I wish him well because he's doing some fantastic stuff with Goners. And then Jorge is also doing this book called Feathers, which is kind of an all-ages book. They just came out with their third issue, I believe. It'll be happening next week. I've only gotten 2 issues into it, so it's a lot of fun. It's really cute and very action-paced.
And Jorge will be on after Jacob.
So
wow.
There you go.
We apparently have your whole reading list on the show.
That's amazing.
James, just come back and co-host. I mean, we can.
Sure.
Yeah,
I haven't read it yet. I've only read a few pages into it, but the Delinquents just came out from Valiant. James Osmus is writing, and he's kind of a genius. The panel work, especially, like there are some pages that have like, I don't know if you can even see that on the thing, but just, you know, a ton of panel work on the page, and it doesn't feel cluttered, even though it really should feel cluttered. But it moves at a great pace, and it's really imaginative. And just flipping through it, I was like, yeah, I'm buying that. So
he loves those characters, man. He writes so many Quantum and Woody and Harbinger. It's Harbinger, right? Or
Quantum and Woody and oh god, I'm gonna screw it up really bad.
I know, I can't think of it either. Oh man, it's like another like weird team.
Oh, Archer and Armstrong. That was
there you go, Archer and Armstrong. Yeah, I feel like he's been writing those books forever.
Yeah. I mean, but he's done really well at it. So
yeah.
I mean, he got like 5 Harvey Award nominations last year.
Yeah, Valiant has just like really stepped up their game in the past couple of years, just amazingly.
Yeah, so other than that, I got a ton of other books. Like I really want to read Effigy by Tim Seeley. I've got like all the deep states on my desk, and I think I've only gotten through one and a half of them, but they're extremely good. There's too much good stuff out there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I gotta pick and choose.
Too much good stuff, not enough time to read.
Exactly. Yeah.
I hate that.
Because I certainly buy them all.
Yeah.
and one of these days, I know I'm gonna have like that Twilight Zone where I've got time now.
There was time. There was time.
Then my glasses will break.
You better tell your wife to bury you with them.
Yeah. Right. They're mine. I'm taking them with me.
Awesome, man. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing with us your awesome stuff that you're reading. Casey, we're getting low on time. Is there any like Uber of the news that we kind of looked at that you wanted to discuss? Really?
I don't remember, so probably not.
Kind of a slow news week. It was
Was
a
there
lot of
anything
stuff
you
about this. A lot of stuff about the Deadpool casting for the Deadpool movie.
Oh yeah, Marina
Baccarin. All right.
There you go.
We won't get too much into this, but she is absolutely stunning. She is like.
Oh yeah. Well, let me close my door. She's super
hot. She's incredibly gorgeous. She's just so like there's something so graceful and elegant about her, and still like very hot too. So I'm like, she's one of the best things about Gotham right now is the fact that she's on there. I love just watching her. She's beautiful.
I'm really hoping she's Domino. That would be perfect for her.
Yeah. Is that the speculation of who she's gonna be?
I think so, but I mean, who knows? Like that movie has been in development for so long, and I've read the script. I don't remember a Domino being in the script.
Yeah.
But so that could have changed. There was also a rumor that they were going to cast a guy who played X-Men, or the guy who played Colossus in X-Men.
Yeah, but he's actually out, I guess.
He got out, yeah, and they're going to recast it. I don't think they're going to recast it. I think they'll recast it, but as a different character. So I think the Colossus role that's in that book will actually be Cable. Because it happens at the very end, and it's like a scene.
Right.
It's a cool scene. Like it totally needs to be in there. So hopefully
Yeah.
Hopefully that script hasn't changed too much, because that script is really good. It's by the guys that wrote Zombieland. So it's a lot of fun, and he like breaks the fourth wall and has multiple voices in his head and all that stuff. So I really enjoyed it.
Right.
So it's actually a Deadpool movie. That's great.
Yeah, it is totally a Deadpool movie. And like he goes and like buys the costume. Like there's a cool scene like where he like buys the costume, and it's I'm gonna spoil it. He like goes and buys the costume, but it's actually like a Spider-Man costume. He just like turns inside out.
That's cool.
So it's cool. And like he like sees like a toy from the original X-Men, the X-Men Wolverine whatever movie, and it's a toy of Deadpool, and he's like, oh, what the fuck is this, Baraka Pool? And like throws like knocks it in a trash can or something. So yeah, it's very cool. I really hope that script is the one they're using, or I think it is.
Yeah, well, it's not going to matter. It could be anything. It's got Ryan Reynolds in it, so my wife's going to make me go no matter what.
Yeah, but that's better than like The Engagement or whatever.
I'm just saying, we went to see Wolverine Origins solely on the fact that Ryan Reynolds was in it, and it scarred me, really, you know.
For life, right?
I still have nightmares.
Yeah.
That's how I convinced my wife to go. I'm like, oh, Henry Cavill's in it. Like, it's gonna be good. Although I will be seeing 50 Shades on Saturday, so wish me luck.
Oh.
Man, see, it's just too easy, man.
That's where I draw the line. Come on.
After all the stuff you've made fun of me for going to see, I'm just gonna leave it. You'll have to live with it, okay?
Hey, I'm gonna get laid afterwards. That's all I care about.
That's true. That's true.
It's gonna be awkward too. That's fine. That's just fine.
Hey, it is what it is, man. All right, guys. Well, we're going to close up real quick. James, this is where we usually take about a minute to give our final thoughts. So if you just want to plug again your book and your website and where we can find you, that'd be an awesome time to do that, or anything else. Or like, tell us what you're eating for breakfast tomorrow. I don't know.
I'm gonna make some bacon and eggs.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. No, I'll just look at Twitter. James C. Maddox at Twitter. I don't know how to say that. And follow the trail from there. It's kind of like a scavenger hunt. You'll find little bits everywhere.
You got to work for it for the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome, man. James, it was so awesome having you on. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
For sure. Casey, close us up and tell us where people should be checking out, what they should be checking out, what they should be reading from us, all that good stuff.
First and foremost, you guys should go buy the magazine that I'm written for because
Hell yeah.
they paid
It's
me
out
money.
there.
Yeah, they paid me, so I feel obligated to promote it. And if you find a copy, please send me one because I can't find it. Also, make sure you guys are going to Geeks with Wives every single day. There's always a plethora of content going up there. In fact, you can go check out what I thought of James's The Dead comic in our introducing indie series. Spoiler alert, I enjoyed it. In fact, it's not really a review. It's more of just like, hey, you should go check out this book because it's awesome.
Right.
Piece. There's also video game stuff going up every day. Tons of comic reviews and all that good stuff.
Hey, man, there's even something up from me on there right now.
Oh yeah, a movie review from Will for The Kingsman,
Yeah.
which I would much rather be seeing on Saturday, but that's not going to be. I'm losing that. I lost that battle already. So check that out because that's a really well-written review. Good job, Will.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Your check's in the mail.
Sweet.
We also do like live streaming. We play video games on the internet, and you get to hear me talk for another hour and a half on there as well. This time I'm doing it over a dumb game, so it's slightly more entertaining. This week I will be playing on Sunday. Hopefully, I don't know what I'll be playing yet. Hopefully The Order. I should get that.
I'm looking forward to that too.
I should get that on Friday or Saturday. Reviews not great. But I don't really care. It looks fantastic, and that's kind of my thing. I just want to shoot and watch and shoot monsters and werewolves and things. I don't really give a fuck.
Watch stuff blow up.
Yeah, like that's like totally my game. Like just point me in a direction, throw like monsters at me, and let me shoot them. Like I'm all good doing that. Like it's fine.
Sweet.
And have it only be 5 hours. That's even better because like I don't have that much time.
Yeah, right.
I got things to do. I got comics to read, other games to play. Once again, taking over the podcast with my annoying voice. So make sure you're going to geekswithwives.com. You guys can check us out on Twitter at GWWCapesCrew. You can check me out on Twitter at BadBoyComics.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys visit Piper because she's not here tonight and she fell asleep or something and is really sorry. And you can check her out at FizzGiggity. FizzGiggity. I'm not going to try to spell it. It's like FYZZGIDD something. Why?
Lots of Z's, lots of D's.
Just search Piper, you'll find her. She has crazy hair.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I feel like I'm missing something, but maybe not. I don't know.
Oh, and also check out both the other two podcasts we have, the original
there you
Geeks
go.
Live and Geeks on Screen. Bing.
Oh yeah. I'll be on Geeks on Screen tomorrow night too. So
Sweet.
if you're not sick of me now, you will be by then. My show.
We love you, man. We love hearing you talk. Cool. Well, thank you, buddy. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at DartSparrow. Thanks again for joining us on Thursday. We hope you have a fantastic week. And for myself, for Casey, and of course, again, thanks to James Maddox for joining us. We appreciate you all. We love you all, and we will catch you on the geek side.